The promise that changed two lives forever asterisk what happens when a billionaire's darkest moment collides with a janitor's simple act of kindness? This true story will restore your faith in humanity. Asterisk, the elevator doors opened with a soft ding at 11:47 p.m., revealing the empty corridors of Meridian Towers 45th floor. Marcus Johnson pushed his cleaning cart forward, the familiar squeak of its wheels echoing through the silence. After 12 years of night shifts, he knew every corner of this building, every stain on the marble floors, every fingerprint on the glass doors, every shadow cast by the city lights below. But tonight felt different. As Marcus approached the corner office, the one with CEO etched in gold letters, he noticed something unusual. The lights were still on, and through the frosted glass, he could see a silhouette hunched over a desk. Strange, he thought. Mr. Whitfield never stays this late. If stories like this inspire you, hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will shock you. Marcus knocked gently. "Excuse me, sir. Building maintenance. I can come back later if you need more time." "Come in," came a muffled voice from inside. What Marcus saw when he opened the door made him freeze. Richard Whitfield III, the 52-year-old tech mogul worth $3.2 billion, sat in his wheelchair behind his mahogany desk, surrounded by scattered papers and empty prescription bottles. His usually pristine appearance was disheveled, hair unkempt, shirt wrinkled, eyes red and hollow. "Don't mind me," Richard said without looking up. "Just finishing some paperwork." But Marcus noticed something else. On the desk, barely hidden beneath a financial report, was a printed email from a medical specialist. The words "progressive condition" and "no current treatment options" were visible. "Sir, are you all right?" Marcus asked, genuine concern in his voice. Richard finally looked up, surprised by the question. In 12 years of running this company, no one had asked him that with such sincerity. Board members asked about profits. Employees asked about profits. Employees asked about raises. Family asked about inheritance. But this janitor, this man he'd never bothered to learn, was asking about him. "Do you know what it's like," Richard began slowly, "to have everything money can buy, but be trapped in a body that's failing you more each day?" Marcus set down his cleaning supplies and stepped closer. "No, sir, I don't. But I do know what it's like to feel trapped." "Don't skip ahead. This conversation is about to take an incredible turn that will leave you speechless." Richard's eyebrows raised slightly. This wasn't the response he expected from someone he'd always seen as invisible, part of the building's machinery, not a person with his own story. "My son," Marcus continued, pulling out his phone to show a photo, "Jerome. He's 16. Brilliant kid, straight A's, wants to be an engineer. But we live in the projects, and the closest he's gotten to a college campus is the brochures I bring home from the recycling bins here." Richard stared at the photo, a young man with Marcus's same kind eyes, wearing a worn but clean high school jacket, holding what appeared to be a science fair trophy. "Every night," Marcus went on, "I clean offices where million-dollar deals are made, where people's dreams come true with the stroke of a pen. And every morning, I go home to my son, who's just as smart as any of these executives, but won't get the same chances because of where he was born." The office fell silent except for the hum of the air conditioning and distant city traffic. "What did you mean when you said you'd help me walk?" Richard asked suddenly. Marcus looked confused. "Sir, I never said that." "No, but—" Richard paused, something shifting in his expression. "Maybe you just did. Subscribe now, because what this CEO does next will restore your faith in humanity." Richard wheeled himself around the desk until he was facing Marcus directly. "What's your last name?" "Johnson, sir." "Marcus Johnson?" "Well, Marcus Johnson, I've been sitting in this office for the past 3 hours writing my resignation letter. You see, I have a progressive spinal condition that's been getting worse. The doctors say I have maybe 2 years before I lose function in my arms too." Marcus's expression softened. "I'm sorry, sir." "That must be frightening." "It is. But what's more frightening is that I've spent 52 years building an empire, and I've never actually built anything meaningful. I've acquired companies, manipulated markets, increased shareholder value, but I've never changed a single life for the better. Richard reached for one of the papers on his desk, not his resignation letter, but a proposal that had been buried under other documents for months. This, he said, holding up the paper, is a proposal from my R&D team. They want to create a foundation that funds STEM education in underserved communities. Full scholarships, mentorship programs, internships. The board rejected it because it wouldn't generate immediate returns. Marcus stared at the document, his hands trembling slightly. The program would cost about $50 million to start, Richard continued. Pocket change for someone like me. But I've been so focused on making money that I forgot money is supposed to be a tool, not a trophy. Keep reading. This story is about to reach its most powerful moment. Richard looked directly into Marcus's eyes. You asked if I was all right. The truth is, I've been dead for years. But tonight, for the first time in decades, someone saw me as a human being, not a bank account. You reminded me that I still have the power to choose who I want to be with whatever time I have left. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Sir, I don't understand. Marcus, how would you feel about becoming the first director of community outreach for the Whitfield Foundation for Educational Equity? Starting salary, $150,000 a year, plus benefits, plus a budget to identify and support brilliant kids like Jerome. The cleaning cart suddenly felt very far away. Marcus gripped the back of a chair to steady himself. Your first assignment, Richard continued, pulling out his phone, would be to call MIT's admissions office in the morning. I have a feeling they'd be very interested in meeting a young man with Jerome's potential, especially when his education is fully funded. If this story moved you, smash that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs hope today. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. Sir, why? Why are you doing this? Richard smiled, the first genuine smile to cross his face in months. Because 30 minutes ago, I was planning to give up. I thought being trapped in this wheelchair meant my life was over. But you showed me something I'd forgotten. What's that, sir? That being trapped isn't about what your body can't do. It's about what your heart won't do. Tonight, you helped me remember that I still have the power to lift others up. In doing that, you didn't just change Jerome's life or your life, you saved mine. Richard extended his hand toward Marcus. So tell me, Marcus Johnson, are you ready to help change the world? As Marcus shook the billionaire's hand, both men realized that sometimes the most powerful transformations happen not in boardrooms or corner offices, but in the quiet moments when one human being truly sees another. 6 months later, the Whitfield Foundation had funded full scholarships for 200 students. Jerome Johnson was thriving at MIT. And Richard Whitfield had discovered that true wealth isn't measured by what you accumulate, but by what you give away. The moral: sometimes the person who needs saving isn't who you think it is. Subscribe for more stories that prove kindness changes everything. Asterisk, 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 what did you think of this story? Share it with someone who needs to remember that every encounter has the power to change a life. Hit subscribe for more incredible true stories of human connection.